shall be talking about what are the principles of problem solving, then that what are the C's, which we call as 4 C's of problem solving, and how to improve about problem solving skills in somebody's life. So, this is the agenda for today. I shall be beginning with principles of problem solving skills. So, friends, we all know that problems are there in everybody's life. We all face problem at work, at personal, at home, in personal life, with friends, with family, with boss, with employers, with colleagues, everywhere. The problem could be a small to a very big one. You know, we all faced a problem recently worldwide, that was corona, right? That was a very, very big problem which everybody, the whole world has faced. So, the problem could be a small problem that you are getting late for submitting, to a very big problem like corona, like the fire in the plant, the big problem, all the products which you manufactured malfunctioned, you have to recall them, etc., etc. So, problem solving skills are required in everybody's life, irrespective what you are working, where you are staying, what is your job profile, etc. So, we need to have certain principles which are important if we want to possess problem solving skills. So, here are the principles of problem solving skills. Number 1, defining the problem. Number 2, identify root cause. Number 3, corrective countermeasures. Number 4, confirm countermeasures. Number 5, feedback, and number 6, feed forward. So, we shall be discussing these 6 principles in detail. Number 1 is defining the problem. As I said, when we say somebody has problem solving skill, the first and the foremost requirement or the element is, then one should be able to define what is the problem actually. Person may say I have fever, right? Person may say I have body ache, but the real problem could just be a symptom, right? The real problem could be then somebody has tuberculosis, somebody has some other serious problem in the body, that's why those symptoms are coming. So, problem was not fever, or problem was not the headache, problem was some other thing which was serious, which was not talked about, right. So, defining the problem in a right way is very essential and is the first principle to solve the problem. So, if you want to develop or to claim that you have a problem solving skill, you should be able to define the problem well, right, by analyzing it, by researching, by listening very carefully to all the people who are giving inputs. That is why we say the doctors could not do good diagnosis, or doctor can do as good as diagnosis as the patient can explain, right. So, the doctor has to listen what you say as a patient, but patient should have the capability to explain, right, and that doctor should not miss out any small thing which patient may not think is important, but has just mentioned but did not explain well. That is how defining the problem is very, very important. The second principle is to identify the root cause, right, and that is possible if you really are good in researching, you are good listener, you are good in analyzing, right. Do not leave any simple or the easiest thing which others may say it cannot be the cause of problem, right. Do not ignore smallest of the small thing if you really want to reach to the root cause of the problem. That is the second principle, we call it as identify. So, if you want to become a good problem solver, be able to define the problem and be able to reach to the root cause. Otherwise, whatever the solution you may provide, that solution is not for the real problem. The problem is not going to be addressed with the solution you may end up providing at, right, because the real root cause was not identified. It will occur in very soon, again reoccur. It may seems to be working for few minutes, few hours, few days, but it is going to come back because the real problem was not identified. Then the third principle is that corrective countermeasures. So there could be many counter measures, you know. So there could be one measure to solve the problem, second, so there could be many measures. So you should be able to see what is the corrective counter measure. This is one measure, this is the counter measure, this is another. So which one is the counter measure, you know, which can actually you know, solve the problem. So this is one measure, what is against this, what is another measure, and then make sure then you actually use the corrective ones, and then finally the fourth principle says that confirm the countermeasures. So what if we follow this, what if we follow this, what if this is the alternate which is adopted, right? Answer those questions. So that is what is, you know, knowing the measures, countermeasures, and confirming the countermeasures. The fifth principle says feedback. Once you actually have decided the alternate, come to the people who were facing the problem, right, and seek the feedback from the team, from the people who are facing problem. Do you think this would be the right measure, right? Do you think this would be the what, you know, seek the feedback on the solution, and not only that, before implementing and after implementing. So the fifth principle says feedback, and the sixth principle says feed forward, right? So whatever solution, whatever points you get from the feedback, give it further, you know. It should not be, you should retain those feedbacks. Feed forward means provide further, whatever feedback you receive, that should be fed forward, right? So all these six principles are required to solve the problems, but one need to have many skills, you know, which we call as elements, which we discussed in the past session. So person having those elements and then following these principles can actually really come very well with the solution, which would be addressing to the real root cause and give a good solution. Now we are going to talk about what if somebody wants to improve at the problem solving skills. You know, as I said, problem solving skills are desired by every employer, by every individual. You know, you may be working in a steel plant, you may be working in an education system, you may be working at a recording studio, right? Everywhere, you know, problem solving skills are required, and the people who possess are in demand. You know, people who can actually solve the problem, they are get paid better than the others. They get paid, you know, they get more promotions. They have more secured career. So it's very important to have those problem solving skills. So question comes in, how can we improve those problem solving skills? So there are certain points I am going to share here. Number one, acquire more technical knowledge. Number two, seek out opportunities to solve problems. Number three, do practice problems. Number four, observe how others solve problems. Number five, seek feedback. So I shall be discussing these 5 points in detail now. Number one, acquire more technical knowledge. You know, when we say that I want to be a good problem solver, I want to develop the skills to solve the problem, then make sure that you identify what are the technical skills required in the area you are working. You know, let us say in our education industry, one needs to have the reading skills, good writing skills, you know, researching skills. So they become kind of technical skills for us. They are not exactly the technical skills in literal definition, but they are the skills required for a particular profession, right? For somebody who is a software engineer, coding is a technical skill, right? So somebody who is actually into HR and the softwares are used, those softwares are supposed to be very well known, that knowledge of that skill, that technology is required, right, by somebody who's implementing green HR or implementing those softwares in HR, using those software in HR practices. So we need to acquire those technical technical knowledge before we want to solve the problem, because there are nowadays the problems are not just caused by only humans. There are so many problems which are there because of the technology, because of the machines we are using, because of the equipments we are using, the plants we are working at. So one need to acquire the technical knowledge to solve the problem, right. The second is seek out opportunities to solve problems. So it's just not that I will solve it in case somebody asks me. You should be keeping an eye and take interest in coming forward and finding out the opportunity, because there could be more than one person who can solve the problem. If you really want to develop your problem solving skill, you should try to solve as many problems as possible, and for that you have to seek out the opportunity. You should look around the problems and should come forward to solve the problem. And so this is the second thing, that take initiative in finding the opportunities to solve problems, right. So that is the second way to improve the problem, because it is not theoretical that I can solve problem, I can solve this problem, I can solve that problem. I can fix a car when engine freezes, or I can fix a flat tire. I need to find out the opportunity so let's say if you and there are two people who are driving. I mean, one is driving, another is accompanying, who are driving to some destination, and both knows some or little bit about fixing a flat tire, right. And suddenly on the way the puncture happens, so the tire get puncture. So now it is opportunity for both the people. It's not only the driver who was there, like let's say husband was driving and wife was there. Wife also does drive to work, but that day they were traveling together, and husband just picks up the stepney, the extra tire to change the stepney, right. So this could have been done by the wife even, isn't it? So that was an opportunity to solve the problem. The problem was the that the tire got flat, and the two people cannot reach to their destination. So problem was not the car cannot run. The problem was the tire was flat. That was the root cause, not the car cannot run. This was not the problem, right. So this is how we define the problem. So problem is defined well. So one has the technical knowledge. So this was the technical knowledge that both of the drivers, driver and the accompanying person, wife and husband, was having, that how to change the stepney of in case that the tire get flat, right. So now you should seek the opportunity. If the wife is not been changing flat tires very frequently, stepneys with the stepney very frequently, that was an opportunity for the lady to come forward and to replace the tire, right. So if for example I in person do change the tire whenever. So in the past I have done it many a times. Now the latest cars, generally we do not get the flat tires because of the tires are such, but in the past 20 years ago I have changed it many a times. Maybe 10 years ago also I have changed it many a times. So that was a technical knowledge I developed by observation, by learning from my driver, and whenever I faced that I was able to do that. So we should not leave the opportunity to solve the problem. This is just a small example of a flat tire I took. Not only that, do practice problem, the third thing. And then how to do practice about the problem? This was, you may have changed the tire 10 years ago. For example, I have changed the tire almost 7-10 years ago. I don't remember the exact time now, but I know I have changed it in the past, and somebody faces the problem on the road, I should come forward and change the tire for him or her who doesn't know. This is how I can practice, to solve that problem. Same is for other things, writing a code and correcting a code, developing a solution for something in R&D. So we should practice solving the problems, even the similar problem, right? So it's not that I was able to solve it in the past and I shall be able to do it now. Maybe not. Maybe the technology has changed. Maybe your brain is not able to retain the learnings you have. Maybe you do not remember all the steps were supposed to be followed in solving that problem. It's important to practice problem solving. The fourth point is observe how others solve problem. You may know how to solve a problem. You may be solving such problems in the past, but it's not bad idea to observe how others solve the problem. Right? For example, I know how to fix up a flat tire. So I know, and I may have done it many a time, and I was able to do it somehow. But if somebody else is also doing, why not to observe and see carefully, because where do you put that equipment to change the stepney, it also matters. You may spoil the metal, the car itself, because by putting the jack at some other place, at some wrong place, so near the front wheel, there is a point which is extended inside, on the back of the front wheel. There is a particular point where we should put up a jack, but if somebody fixes the jack in the middle of the car, certainly there is a possibility that the metal, that area may get little dent or the metal may turn inside. So there is nothing wrong in observing that what is the right place to put that jack, right, before you change the flat tire with the stepney, with an extra tire, right. So by observing we can actually improve our problem solving skill. We are talking about how can we improve upon the problem solving skill. So by practicing, by not leaving the opportunity, by practicing more and by observing, because you may know how to solve, you may be solving similar problems, but other may have certain small things better than you, which is saving time, which is saving energy, which is saving cost, right. And the last point is that seek feedback. It's very important. You solve some problem to the best of your capability and you think you did very good job, but seek the feedback after implementation. Did they really find good results, right? Even one should seek the feedback at the time of suggesting alternative. See guys, I am come up with this solution, this is how I can fix up the problem, but you have any apprehension to these alternatives? So seeking feedback at the stage of implementing, before implementing, after implementing is very important, right. So this is how one can, the moment you seek the feedback to the solution you came up before implementing, somebody may point out such very important aspect and then you will think, oh yes, I need to correct. Had you implemented that solution, you may have spoiled the plant, you may have spoiled the machine, you may have spoiled the project or product, or actually may have ended up ruining the customer database or any such thing, depending on which problem we are talking about. So this is how one can, so if we take care of all these 5 things which I talked about, that acquire technical knowledge, seek opportunity to solve the problem, do practice problem solving, do observe others how they solve problem and seek feedback. If you practice all these things in daily life, this is a possibility that you will be able to improve your problem solving skill. Now we are talking about the 4 C's of problems. This is also, they are also known as principle. This is extension of the principle of problem solving. There are 4 C's of problem solving. Number 1, creativity. Number 2, critical thinking. Number 3, collaboration. Number 4, communication. So, so this is not the skill I am talking, right? I am talking about the C's of problem solving. So if we want to acquire good problem solving skills, or we want to solve the problem, we need to think out of the box. That is what the creativity is, right? Looking at those aspects which have been ignored completely, which have not been given attention at. This is how the creativity is. Then critical thinking is also very important aspect of problem solving. Critical thinking requires many things in it, right? Critical thinking requires you to think beyond and see beyond what others are seeing, right? Think critical, evaluate the situation very critically. So that's the second C of the problem solving. Collaborate, the third C says you should be collaborating, because teamwork is important to solve any problem. Nowadays the problems are complex, the businesses are facing fierce competition, they are facing technological changes at such a fast pace that it's not possible for one individual to come up with solution. Collaboration is the key, the answer. Unless you collaborate with others, people who possess more knowledge, more information, have more idea about the problem, you may not be able to provide good solution. So collaboration is very essential. That's how the problems are solved nowadays. That's how the teams are working across borders, across countries, across states, right? So collaborative teamwork actually can provide solution to problem. The fourth C in the four C's is the communication. Communication beginning from listening to good writer to good speaker, everything you have. And not only that, even you should be able to analyze the oral communication, the body gestures of the person who was explaining the problem. So communication is the crux. We cannot ignore communication. It actually is the crux for many things. So creativity, critical thinking, collaboration and communication, these are the four C's which makes problem solving easy and effective. The last thing I want to talk about is how to highlight problem solving skills in your various aspects of career, various at various points. So there are three places where we can highlight our problem solving skills. Number one, in our resume, in our cover letter. Number two, number three, job interview. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about these, and then we shall be winding up the session soon. So resume. So problem solving skills can be actually mentioned in resume in a summary. You may write up that our products were facing this problem in the previous organization where you were working, and I solved the problem like this. How did you solve should be mentioned. You may like to write in the summary that that software was causing problem, that machine was causing problem, there was so much employee turnover, there was there many strikes were there, the machine breakdowns were there, and how did you actually solve that. So make a summary in the resume, in the summary part, and highlight that you have problem solving skill, because as I said, this problem solving skill is being valued by every employer, and if you are able to express well in the resume, which is quite a detailed area, you got enough space in the resume, you can actually write it. You can use CV to write it further. Then the cover letter, because if it all depends on the JD, the job description. If the JD is such where problem solving skills are essential, are important, and in fact problem solving skills are required everywhere. So it's better to find a place in the letter itself in 1-2 lines to mention about problem solving skills. And in the job interview, make sure you get try to find a clue where to link the situation where you can talk about your problem solving skills. Intro is the best way to express. You can get a chance to express in detail, to talk about the problem and the solution in detail, and make a make a point in your mind before you step into the interview room, that this is how I can express my problem solving skill during the interview. You can jot down those points in your mind, you can jot down those problems which you have solved at your workplace in the past, and then also the solution and the process to solve that, right. So, this is all about today. I hope you were able to understand the elements, the principles of problem solving, and how can you improve at the problem solving skills. So, with this I would like to wind up, friends. Hope I was able to help you understand the topic well. So, time to sign off. Thank you very much.